I get wildly off track.
So do I.
So don't.
God knows where this is
For
going.
the love of God, don't be afraid to be like, whoa, what are we talking about? We're talking about fucking basketball on Mars right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay. So what's up here with Scotty Bob? Probably one of the top wingsuit pilots in the world these days.
I don't know who's checking, but
yeah. But he's up there. He's at the top of his game, and it's super cool of him to do an interview with us. And we're going to talk about fear and confidence and what he went through to get himself to the top of the game. So here's Scotty Bob. So where did this all start for you?
I guess the best way to start it off would be when I was 19. I was in the Marine Corps. I was actually offered a chance to go to jump school, which is it's static line jump school. It's rounds. It's like stuff you see in Normandy and like Band of Brothers type shit and round parachutes and all that.
Cool.
So for me, I'm 19-year-old young kid in the Marine Corps, and totally juiced on adrenaline already, and like, oh yeah, that's gonna be fun. And then I remember getting down there and then going through the training, and it's about 3 weeks of training, and the first 2 weeks is just hazing the shit out of you and then making you hate your life, and it's really not that bad. But then you get to like the jump week, and it's like, oh shit, look, we're actually gonna do this. Like they really actually do want me to jump out of airplanes. So and then I was like, okay. I remember getting everything ready, and then them doing the pre-jump checks, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. No expectations. All I knew was it's a very military mindset. This is what you need to do. This is what you're here to do. You do this, and you'll live. If you don't do this, and you're gonna die. And then very, very dictatorial and everything. And it was very direct.
Was there any fear in like you jumping out of the plane for the first time, or?
Oh, I was scared shitless. Like I was scared out of my goddamn mind.
Yeah, like everybody is.
Yeah, so we get to the door and we get everything in, we get our gear on, and your first jump, you're jumping what's called Hollywood, so it's just slick with your parachute on. But you're in a C-130, and everybody gets to the door comes open, and I've got 40 other people in the plane, and like probably 20 people in front of me, and people just start getting out, and I'm going through everything that I'm trained to do, and it's going on auto like everything else in the military. You're just kind of auto, and I remember handing my static line off to the jump master, letting go, and getting out of the airplane, and I remember just the sound will never like escape my brain, because it was just like from dead quiet to just chaos immediately, and you're out of the plane, like parachute opens above your head, and I was like, holy shit, that was the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. And then I was hooked from that second forward.
So from that fear to fun, I mean, it happened in a couple seconds.
It was instantaneous.
Yeah. And then what did you feel like a release in your body, like that you found like maybe like a new place of like being that you'd never experienced in your life, and that is something that you knew that you would pursue from that second on?
For sure. Like it was I mean, like I said before, the military is very direct and dictatorial, so the idea of fun doesn't, the best analogy I try to tell people is the military has a way of making anything fun not fun. Yeah. So, but at that time, like if something in your brain tells you that like something that you're doing in a military mindset, that this is a whole lot of fun, like obviously you're going to enjoy doing it.
Cool.
And any aspect of what it is. So from the second I landed, and I did 5 more jumps and came back to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and was talking to some of my NCOICs, and they really were. I kept telling them like that was more fun than I've ever had in my entire life, and they kept telling me like you should get into sports skydiving, and it's like I didn't even know what that was. Like I knew you've seen pictures of like people skydiving. So
yeah.
You're like, okay, whatever. But a couple of them were actually sports skydivers. They jumped in a local drop zone, and they were like, you need to go get your A license. I was like, okay, and I was about to leave for Iraq. I had like a deployment in like 3 months, so I went and did a tandem before I went to Iraq, and then that tandem sealed the deal. I was like,
you were hooked.
That was it. From then on out, it was game on.
Cool. Okay, so that was quite a first-time experience, and then I'm sure just going to Iraq was a whole nother ball of wax for you. And
That was my second deployment to that point.
oh, it was? Oh, okay.
Didn't really
All
know.
right, that's cool. So what about your first deployment? Like, what kind of things came up for you the first time you went there, and like what were you doing, and were there fears involved with all of that, and how did you get over that stuff?
I mean, the military being the military, it's like they train you pretty well. They teach you to, and I mean today's modern military, you would be silly to say. I mean, there's always outliers, but like I knew what I was getting myself into. Like,
sure.
Even at 18 years old, when you enlist, like when you're 18 and you still watch the news. Like we invaded Iraq when I was in high school. Like I'm 16 and we invaded Iraq, and I was like, well, that's interesting, but I'm 16 and I don't give a shit about anything at this point in time. And then when it comes to time and I'm getting out of high school and I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want to do, and I tried a little bit of college, didn't really want to do that, it was
sure.
really boring. And I was like, okay, I'll join the military, but I knew full and well what I was getting myself into. So
okay,
flash forward into, boots on the ground in Iraq for my first deployment. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but like, I was like, well, this is about what I was expecting. This is crazy, but it's about what I was expecting. So
no real like shock, and for you or
no.
Okay, that's cool.
It's a lot. Believe it or not, it's a lot of boredom.
Yeah,
It's a lot of sitting around. It's. I mean, there's crazy moments here and there, but for the majority of the time, I would say I won't speak for everybody, but for myself, there's a lot of sitting around, and then some crazy, really exciting moments there temporarily, and then a lot of sitting around, a lot of boring stuff. Like, but I will say that even as I was there, like, the same behavior or the same mindset that I had that drew me to something like skydiving, I was, that's what I was constantly seeking out.
So it was a sense of adventure, to explore, to push your own boundaries.
Yeah.
Is that kind of stuff is like what really drives you to do what you do today?
Very much so.
There's people outside.
There's a fight going on. Well, this interview is going down in South Central.
That's right.
You start hearing gunshots. Don't worry.
You know where we are. So has that been something that's been a part of you your whole life, or is that something that you developed over time as you grew up into your teenage years?
I mean, I would say I joined the Marine Corps knowing what I wanted to do and what I was young. I didn't know exactly what was going on, and we'll take politics out of the equation.
Sure,
we'll leave that out.
That's a whole.
But knowing knowing what I was probably going to get myself into, and then what happened was pretty on par.
Okay.
But I can say that jumping early on drew me more than anything that I was doing in the military.
Okay.
Which is probably why when I got out or I came back from my second deployment, it became a very easy decision for me to get out and pursue jumping more than
anything else.
To stay in the military and
sure.
Continue down that avenue, that rabbit hole.
Okay.
Everything's a rabbit hole.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, there is, and there's some good ones out there to get stuck in, but some bad ones too. So even before you joined the military, as a kid, up to age 16, when you were kind of like, oh, I think I'm going to join the military. As a kid, were you still, this adventurous? Were you always like going out and doing stuff? And how do you feel?
It's probably a better question for my mom, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I was usually pretty good at answering that one.
I would say I was a pretty normal kid.
Okay.
I don't think I played video games, but I went outside a lot. I left tree forts, rode my bike around in the woods a lot.
Okay.
And I don't know. It was a pretty normal childhood.
Cool.
I definitely didn't, grow up in the inner city. I didn't grow up in the country. I was just a suburban kid.
Right on. Bored, get in trouble here and there.
Boredom is probably the real key there. Like, I guess if you wanted to get really Sigmund Freud here, I would say that getting normally bored, getting bored as a kid in was very normal for kids where I lived. Like,
Okay.
we're just trying to get into trouble as much as we could. I did about 120 skydives in 2.5 months.
Oh wow. Nice.
In at a Cessna drop zone. So
that's.
I was on every load. I was jumping probably 8 to 10 times a day. You know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day.
Nice.
You know, for 3 months straight. And in those 3 months, I just picked up enough knowledge, enough experience that just every jump I did was just constantly getting hooked on what's this thing? Oh my God, I learned this new thing, and I want to learn more about this thing, and oh my God, I learned this new thing, and I want to learn so many more things about this. And it was just constantly about body flight and just learning body awareness and skydiving, and being confident with myself in the air and in an environment that to I guess most everyday people is a very foreign,
totally strange
foreign and
place.
strange environment, but you're constantly learning your body a lot more than anything else. You're just learning where you are in the spatial
and then
time and
that
space-time continuum. I don't know.
Exactly, and that's great that you said that, because a lot of the work that we do, and some of you guys already know this, is body awareness and in spatial awareness around you and what's going on, and being very present and conscious of things. So, what Scotty just said, skydiving, it forces you into your body and allows you to be aware of pretty much every square inch of it and what's going on, and constantly feeling everything. And
it's pretty fucking cool. Like,
yeah.
it's I mean, I've been doing this for years now, and it's just to the point where the more like the marginal return, I guess, is what I guess the people watching this probably have a lot more education than I do. The marginal return, like the return that you get on the amount of effort that you put into something like this is pretty incredible, because you learn, if I work really hard at one thing, then I'm going to get something out of it. Hopefully, anything you do, if you put work into it, it's going to give you something back. And the more effort and time and money that I put into my jumping, I mean, the average everyday world would tell me I'm an idiot for how much money that I put into this stuff. But it's paid me back dividends that I can't even imagine. Like, not just in relationships, like friendships and anything. Like, it's just knowing that what I'm doing right now and the constant present is much more important than what's behind me and what's in front of me. Rather than
so it's like really forcing you into living in the moment, in the now, so to speak.
I guess that's a very stereotypical skydiver answer.
Yeah.
I wanted to go into too much of the stereotypical crap.
Sure, but it's like that's another thing that we teach and work with our clients, is that it's about being present now and not worrying so much about the future or the past. And that's where everything is happening, in the greater awareness, and at that point in time, you reap greater benefits in the end by being more present that way and catching all the details and everything. Were you really aware of your body as much as you are now prior to skydiving?
I mean, I played ice. I would say yes, for the sense that I played ice hockey for 6-7 years. I was just pretty active in a travel league hockey team for about 6-7 years in high school, but even then I quit doing that, and I was a rower in high school too. So it was just, I think I would say my physical, like I graduated high school, I was 120 pounds, so like I was definitely the runt of my class. I didn't weigh anything. I was
you got lots of love in the military for that too.
Yeah, for sure. But being that, like, I would say, like, being, the average person out there would see, like, athletic ability as being, a physical sense of, like, we all look at the football or basketball and being bigger. And when you come into air sports is a little bit different. Like, air sports, you actually, like, just your physical awareness of what's going on and your where your body is, and what you were talking about, just like your perception of of everything going on around you at one moment of time, and you can break down 1 second into like a billion. You can talk to any base jumper or skydiver out there; they'll be able to tell you that I've had so many moments in my life where I can break down 1 second into like a lifetime.
Sure.
And you're being able to analyze that 1 second and being able to realize what's going on then and there is really important.
And that hyper presence, basically, you know, I know exactly what you're talking about, and you know, some of you guys may not know it on the level that we're talking about, or you know, the best example that most people know is like, say, a car accident. You know, they have that time slows down so much, and they remember every second. But you know, that's a more of a terrifying kind of place to be, where we're talking about more of a joyous place and a place that you're actually learning from. And so yeah, I totally understand what you're talking about, and it's a good thing to be able to have that hyper awareness, to find these little details that you typically miss during your day, to really see the big picture and move forward in life and grow yourself. It's in these little tiny specks that we find like the greatest growth, I think, and you probably would agree.
For sure.
Yeah, and you're just like, holy shit, like, how am I going to get out of this one? And then, you know, that thing, the time slows down, you almost already know what to do, and you pull it off.
I mean, I can boil down at least a couple of those moments.
I'm sure.
I mean, reaction, we call it reaction timing. It actually is a tangible skill. I mean, I can identify it, and I've taught people how to base jump, and that I can identify in somebody tangible reaction skill ability. Like, how are you going to react when objectivity requires you to take emotion out of the equation and analyze what is going on, make a decision, and make the right decision at the right time. Sometimes, you know, I try to tell people that making a decision and making the right decision and making it at the right time are two totally independent things. And sometimes there's 3 different decisions that you can make. And 1, 2, and 3 may be, you know, 1's the really bad one, 2 is the kind of good one, kind of bad one, number 3 is the really, really good one. But if you make number 2 at the right time and you stick it and you pull it off, then you're okay. Like,
sure.
Nothing's wrong. Like, you don't have to be spot on perfect at all times, but making the right decision at the right time, when you narrow the margins down to the level that which we operate in, like, constantly on a daily basis, which is base jumping or wingsuit flying or whatever it is, like, when you narrow those margins down to such a very minute time frame, that really comes into play. Like if you make a good decision or a half-assed decision, then you might as well stick with it, because you just made that decision, and now you're faced with the results of that decision. Now you got to make the next decision that comes after that one, constantly analyzing point after point after point after point, and then, you know, seconds become milliseconds, and each millisecond's a new decision. So
all along the way, I mean,
making the choice that you just made matter, like, right then and there, is probably the most important thing that I've seen with, like, the guys that I know that have made it and are very successful jumpers, and the guys that I know that have gotten injured or severely injured and or have died, or of a result of probably very poor decision making making the wrong decision at the wrong time.
Sure.
And it's kind of hard. And it's from my perspective, it's sees as, you know, it's my job to identify those things and at least advise people on those decisions.
Sure, as a coach, definitely. Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I hate to use the term, but I call it the terminal decision, because it's the decision that you make that makes or breaks you. Like, and if it comes down to that one decision, like, I can hike to an exit point. I can bring enough water for that that hike. I can bring enough, like, a snack bar on that hike that's going to make me feel better. I can prepare. I can make, you know, look at the line. I can analyze the terrain, looking at maps before I get to that. I can do all these things. I can prepare as much as I can to get to one moment. But the terminal decision that I make when I step off an exit point, that is the terminal decision. That if all that preparation that I made to get to that point, The second my feet leave the exit point, that's the terminal decision. And you need to, whatever decision that you're making, identifying that one final decision, like it's the here we go moment, like this is the fuck it, we're good. Yeah, we're going live. Yeah. Fuck it, we're doing it live. Like we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it now, and that's the moment that you have to make sure that your decision making is spot on. Like I mean, I've gone off on hikes with not enough water. I've gone on hikes hungover as fuck, like just wandering around in the dead. Like, but if I get to the exit point and I'm like, I don't feel this, I'm not good, and I decide to turn around, and which I've done a couple times, numerous times actually, then I feel that that's the right decision that I had to make at that moment in time to make sure that I survive.
Even though it's not coming at you at 100 some miles an hour, right. It's like, you know, standing still or cruising at 100 in your wingsuit or whatever. It's you're right. That is the terminal point. It's like this can go from bad to
really, really bad,
real quick with
and,
just one step. And
but I like to try to tell people that, like, try to, you know, you can prepare all you want, but knowing that you can commit to something and fully commit to that moment, like, this is what I'm going to do, and you stand there and you're looking down at what you're about to do, and you're like, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to pull it off, and then I'm going to land down there, and everything's going to be fine. And as long as you can sit to yourself and comfortably say that, then you're fine. But the being able to identify where you're lying to yourself, that's probably the more important thing. I try to tell people, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff with jumping, is like, objective experience is the only thing that's going to actually be able to tell you what decision you're making is the right decision or not.
Sure. And you have to make some bad decisions to get there.
To be realistic, it's time. Like being, like, I'm not saying that I've been doing this an exceeding long time. There's definitely people that have been doing this a lot more than I have, but the ones that are still here, I definitely look up to.
Sure.
But the reason that that when I analyze the people that have done this before me, and when I think of them and how I apply it to me, is that they are constantly analyzing the things around them, their skills, their abilities, their previous decisions, the reasons why they've survived in the past, and how they're going to continue it on in the future. It's just it's objective analysis. It's continuously looking at yourself in an objective way and saying to yourself, you know, I'm not as good as I think I am, and I'm definitely not as good as the people around me think I am. So, am I capable of pulling this off? Am I capable of doing each and every one of these things? And then when I go, you know, after the terminal decision point that I step off the cliff, if I'm flying a line, if at any point in time that I find myself in a position where I don't like what's going on, I always have an escape route. Like, where do I need to go? Like, where am I going to go? What's, you know, but that comes down to experience. Like,
sure.
The first time I do something, I'm going to fly it, you know, 10, 15, 20 feet higher, and looking at it, just getting a good eye on it. And I would say that I've gotten to a point now that I can look at a mountain and I can know exactly where my escape routes are. Where am I going to go? I'm looking down at terrain or the ground or a mountain, and I'm like, where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? If this goes wrong, I'm going to make this turn. If that's not a good turn, if something happens, I'm going this way. And if I don't make it to that landing area, I'm going to that landing area. That's going to be pretty nasty, so I better pull really high. Like, and it's just constantly analyzing what's going on. And it sounds like a lot of work, but like, it's when you fully indulge yourself in something that you're passionate about. Like, I truly am passionate about what I do. Like, I indulge myself in what I do.
Sure.
And when I right now, I haven't jumped in 3 weeks, and I consider that being extremely uncurrent. Like, in my lifetime, I can't really count the time in the last 5 years I haven't jumped in 3 weeks. So that's pretty scary when you sit there and think about it.
Sure. I mean, especially at the level that you're playing this game, I mean, those skills need to be razor sharp all the time. And so how is that messing with you right now, or is it at all? Or
I mean, I know that when I get back into it, I'm going to have to pace myself. I'm going to have to that decision making that I talked to, like, everything all variables change. Like variables change all the time. You never know exactly what variable is going to be placed in front of you, and your previous experiences help you. That's experience. That is definitely, but it's not objective. Like objective experience happens from the moment that you're analyzing your exact experience. So you have to look back at what you have done compared to what's going on right now,
Yep.
and realize that's how you analyze what okay, this is what I'm going to have to do, and if all those things add up in the negative, then you just walk down. You just decide, nope, this isn't for me, and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. But either way, whether it's for you or not you arrive at that decision pretty quickly, and you execute it, whether it's stepping off and going for your jump or walking down, and you're 100% committed at that point all the way. And
I guess time and decision, like decisions and time in comparison with one another is a pretty hard thing because it's always relative.
yeah, absolutely.
It's like, there's a lot of decisions that you can push off. Like, I'm probably the king procrastinator in life, and that's probably why I wasn't very good in school. Because making a decision like, should I do my homework right now? Well, I don't really have to do it right now. Like, and then I get to like 1 hour before it's due, and I'm like, oh shit! Like, I guess I actually really have to do this thing right now. I do a shitty job, but I get it done. I get the grade for what I receive, and it's like,
sure.
Am I gonna die because I got a C on this grade? No. Okay, QED. Then I'm in the clear. Then I had more fun going out the night before than I did.
Yeah. So
just spending the time to get the A on the grade. But
exactly. So it is.
This is probably bad
relative
to people, but
it's all right. That's part of the fun, and everybody's done that. So it's definitely something everyone can relate to. As far as let's take like some of the analytics out of this and the systems that are in place on an emotional level. Where does that play in what you do? Like how many times I know analyzation comes into making a decision of jumping or not jumping and choosing to fly one line versus another line, but on an emotional level, does that come in and affect you as well?
Are we talking about like decisions outside of jumping, or
not so much outside of jumping? Like as far as the emotion goes, while you're jumping, are emotions like coming up while you're making decisions, and are you listening to them more?
I would say no.
No.
Like, because being that objective decision making is really kind of emotionless, and it's kind of scary and it's kind of sad sometimes, and it kind of has some cruel results sometimes. But like, it's when you're doing something that's entirely physical, like you are, it's a practice of emotionless activity. Like I'm having the utmost fun that I possibly can, but when I'm actually doing these things, that gives me the most fun I've ever had in my entire life. I'm not thinking about emotion at all. I'm literally it's brick wall. I know it kind of sounds weird, but it's like, I'm not thinking at all. I'm thinking about, like, I've made my planning, and I've planned, and I know that this one thing is possible that I'm trying to do, which is fly the line that I want to fly. But when I'm actually executing it, it's a brick wall in motion.
Yeah,
I know that doesn't really.
No,
it can be sad sometimes, but like when things go wrong, you can only have that. To me, that provides me with like an objective moment in my mind where I'm like, I made this decision. I made this decision. I made this decision. Something goes wrong. At least I have a sound. When I think of emotion, I think of something that is very fickle, like something that is very.
Well, and it does. It's moving around all the time.
Yeah, it's like it's indecisive, and I can't. When you're doing something at that speed, like at that pace, like being indecisive is really bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So not so much. You don't rely on your emotions so much while you're in flight, and flying your body in time and space. And I can agree with you. I don't either. I'm not like feeling emotion while I'm doing that. Before and after the actual flight.
Oh God, that's the best part.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I would break it down to like logos, pathos, and ethos.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you got like the entire flight is logos and I guess pathos, because pathos is telling you what to do and why you're doing it, and these are the laws of like these are the rules of what you're doing, and logos is like this is how you do it, and then when you land you get the ethos. Like that's before you jump you get the ethos, and when you land you get the ethos, but like during the jump it's all logos and pathos. Like that's all you're doing constantly.
You know, like really pushing the boundaries of what the sport is and yourself.
That's a hard one to answer because like our sport in general is like it's constantly changing. Like I don't even know what wingsuit base jumping is. Like I don't think anybody really knows what it is. It's just it's morphed so fast that it's like I was alive when I was in high school, really, when the first wingsuit probably got jumped off the cliff. When you're operating and like it's very constant reminder of how silly it is what we're doing when a lot of us sit back and go like how ridiculous this whole thing is, like and we also start to think it's like it's not that big of a deal. Like we all don't try to take ourselves too seriously because it's like, but we realize how much fun we're getting out of it, and we're like, okay, there's something there, I'm gonna keep doing it. But I mean, the hardest thing to think about is what are we going to be doing when we're 50? Like, what am I going to be doing when I'm 50 years old? Because I've put so much goddamn energy into this thing, and you know, like I've had probably dreams, and like everybody else has had dreams about what they want to do or what they. Like I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. I mean, and recently I wanted to be an interpreter for an Arabic interpreter. I was studying Arabic at ASU.
Okay.
And when I started jumping, and when I started flying wingsuits and started jumping in the mountains, and the big mountains especially, like that's when I realized that this is what I was here to do. And I was like, holy shit, this is it. Like, and either I go full on right now and really see where this pipe dream goes, or like I pull back and kind of feel out the other sides of life. But like, what's the point? Because when you feel something that good, I guess that's what the emotional side of what you were talking about.
That's great. It's a great answer.
When you feel something that much, you know that's what you're here to do.
Sure. And then that was a great answer to that question. That was really awesome because that's, you know, a lot of people will take that and allow fear to override that and not go out and live an incredible life and be on the forefront of something. You know, from where I sit and from where a lot of people sit, you know, you're one of the cutting edge guys out there that you know, that are really...
there's fear. There's fear from I guess the best explanation would be like, you know, you're you know, I don't have a 401k. I don't have a retirement plan. So I guess this question probably got slightly off topic, but this is I guess the best way to say it is that my life I'm banking on my life experience and the stuff that I'm doing right now, and I guess it's stuff that I learned possibly in Iraq. It's things I've thought about, like the stuff that I've learned in Iraq that maybe what I'm doing right now, regardless of the societal impact that it has on curing cancer or doing whatever, like I know what I'm doing is really silly. Like, you know, people may find inspiration out of it, but, you know, let's get to the bottom line is I'm having fun and I'm getting paid to do it. So it's like, it's not, there is nothing really, really inspirational about this. Like, but what I do realize is that when I do what I do, like, I know for a fact this is what I was put here to do.
Sure.
Like, QED, like, my life is, this is what I was here to do, and if I didn't keep on doing this, then I would feel incomplete as a human being. So that's why I keep doing it.
All the things that, on a societal level, you're going against your lifestyle, what you're doing. Like you said, jumping wings off cliffs is kind of silly.
It has no tangible benefit to society at all. We've actually sat there and thought about this. We're like, how could we like deliver aid or like bring food bundles to starving kids in Africa? Like, how can we do here? Like, and I've done a lot of stuff like this, and I've really tried to find an altruistic good to what we do, but I guess the point to be made would be is that the altruistic good is pursuing a dream and pursuing something that humans haven't done before. I guess when you really think about it, like, what was the point of going to the moon? It didn't really do anything, but
but
not comparing myself to Neil Armstrong. Try not to there.
But as a nation and the world, it was inspiring to so many people. What mankind can do, what he can accomplish, and sure, it may not have the impact that Neil Armstrong had. However, it does impact a lot of people's lives when they see you guys out there flying at the level that you fly, and it inspires people to go maybe do a tandem skydive or something, and which would eventually change their life potentially.
I guess the thing to fill in would be, like, I get a kick out of people saying, and I get a kick out of it, and it makes me happy when I see people actually say, like, I watched you do that, and that, dude, that's awesome. And like, you can see that in their emotion and their reaction, and after them seeing, like, and they're totally outside of the community. Like, it's really easy to get wrapped up in a community, like everything else, skiing or jumping or anything else. Like, but put that aside, and it's just really cool to see people that actually get a kick out of it and, like, say, like, that, that's awesome, that I wish I could do that one day. And then, like, I'm hoping that they would go back and say, like, well, shit, like, I can do that. Like, maybe not do that, but, like, do anything that you want to do in your life and accomplish whatever the fuck you want to accomplish.
Whatever it may
be. For the love of God, like, do something better than what I'm doing, because all I'm doing is having fun. Please, cure cancer. Don't do what I'm doing. Because I'm probably going to get cancer one day. Save my ass.
So, but you out having fun, is in a sense living your dream, a dream of some kind.
Yep.
Which a lot of people don't allow themselves to do, because they're afraid of, they don't have the 401k. And they don't have, like, the house, and they aren't married or whatever it may be. They let these societal pressures push them into this box, and you're not.
The reward to us is, like, well, it's progression. This is us pushing the sport in some direction that hasn't been done before. Like, I mean, shit, we're fucking human birds jumping off of cliffs. And like that's pretty fucking cool. But at the bottom line is, it's not worth any of us dying. So we all know that. We've all gone through that in the past, and we all know that it's just nothing is worth doing in life. Like, it never is. And so when you're at that level, or you're at whatever level that anybody thinks you're at, and you're making a decision, and you're going, is this worth my life? And if your answer is at any point in time is, it's worth my life, then you should probably see a psychiatrist. Probably analyze what the hell is going on with your life, because nothing is worth your life. Like, it's because you go back to the bottom line is, we're all doing this for fun, and then the fun stops when the clock ends. So
so you gotta keep the fun meter rolling. And definitely not die. That's the most important part. So as far as advice from all the experience that you've gained by doing what you do, pushing through your own personal fears and building your own confidence around what it is, or what it takes to go in a direction that no one else has done, what kind of advice could you give to people who are looking to, it doesn't have to be anything big in life, but just live a little bit of the dream they've always wanted, what would you suggest to them as far as, pushing through that fear and doing it with confidence?
I realized the moment, like, it was one jump in Italy 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, actually, about 3 years ago. And I realized, like, when I landed and I actually had that ethos moment of, like, sitting there going, like, holy shit, that was awesome. It was like, and I know this sounds kind of stupid, but it was a moment where I could go, I stepped off that, I did that flight, I landed right here, and I knew what the fuck I was doing, and I knew it, and I knew that I knew what I was doing, and it's not just confidence, it's not arrogance by any means, it's knowing that you knew exactly what you were doing, and you're, like I said, with objective decision making, you're constantly saying, like, what I've done in the past may be different than what I'm doing in the future, but, like, confidence is not brewed from like arrogance. Like, it's not brewed from something that is like, I know what the fuck I'm doing, like, and I will always know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, confidence is brewed from like when I'm here and I'm in this environment and all these things add up, and like, fuck yeah, I know what I'm doing, like, and I'm gonna go do this, like, and it has nothing to do with like trying to show off or trying to prove to whoever that you're doing. It's knowing that you are in your element and you can do what you're going to do, and you're going to pull it off, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah. So there's like a synchronicity that you're describing basically with yourself, with the environment that you're in and around, and therefore that creates the confidence.
It's just being one with. Try not to be cheap Zen moment here, but
well, there's some Zen moments in what you guys do. Come on.
I try not to get too Zen'd out, but it's more just. Know where you're at, know what you're doing, and know that you know. That's the biggest part to me is like this constant doubt in the state of your mind, and that part in the back of your head that's constantly going like, oh, I don't know, and maybe this is going on, maybe there's a wind going like this, and it's like have the trump card in the back of your head. It's like, fuck that, I know what I'm doing, and it's not arrogance, it's confidence.
Confidence, yeah.
Don't always paint confidence as arrogance. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yes,
and,
that's one of the biggest things that we run into is people think confidence is arrogance, which is not.
My buddy Alex is as best as nutty as he can be. I'll say he has probably one of the better quotes out there: "Is never let your fear become somebody else's fear," which is pretty good because. It's very true. Like fear is very palpable. You can always tell when somebody else is scared, and I will never tell anybody else to not be afraid of any situation that they're in. But you can only be as confident as yourself in a situation. And if I find myself on any exit point and I'm afraid of something, then one, I'm going to deal with it myself. And if the fear supersedes my ability to cope with it, then I'm going to say, sorry guys, I'm out, and I'm going to back away from it. That in and of itself may affect somebody else, but that's my decision, and that's independently, like we were talking about terminal decisions. Like the second you decide to hop off a cliff, that's a pretty terminal decision right there. And if my confidence impacts somebody to make a terminal decision that impacts, their health, then I would feel terrible. So
sure,
I would say my ethos about it is my pathos. I guess it's a better way of saying it. But my pathos about it is I will never tell anybody else to not be afraid about something. But that being said, if you're going to put yourself in a situation where you are confidently able to commit to that situation, then fucking own it. And then you get there, analyze all the decisions that you made up until then, and analyze the environment that you're in, and then make the right decision, carry through with it, and land and enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. Well said. we're going to put some links to some of Scotty Bob's awesome flying for you guys down below. And you'll be able to check out him flying his wingsuit all over the world. There's some phenomenal videos, some of the better ones I've seen out there. The talent that this guy has is incredible to me, and I know a lot of you guys have seen him fly too. So look forward to getting those links down below. And so you got some sponsors and people that have helped you out to get you where you are, and so
more importantly, I'd like to say thank you to Mario Richard and Sean Leary. They're big heroes of mine. I love those guys. They're two of my favorite people on the planet. And also Chris Dukes McDougal. You're an idiot, but I love you. And thank you to Squirrel and to Kavu. So, thanks.
Awesome. Well, cool, man. I really appreciate you sitting down tonight and us going through this and shooting off the hip and talking about confidence, fear, and pushing the limits and going after your dreams and what it takes to do that. And
for sure, man.
It's been awesome. Cool.